of explorers, missiles, and adventurers in the literal middle of nowhere. Rockall Islet lies 301 kilometres, or 187 miles west of Scotland, and 700 kilometres, or 430 miles south of Iceland. It was first noted on sailors' charts in the 16th century, but no one was much interested, and for hundreds of years no nation claimed it. Rockall is actually the visible part of a submerged reef, 25 metres or 80 feet wide, and 31 metres or 100 feet long at its base. It is quite short, with winter waves often washing right over it. At its tallest point it stands just over 17 metres or 56 feet above sea level. The only inhabitants are seabirds. The first recorded landing by a human on Rockall was on the 8th of July 1810, when Royal Navy officer Basil Hall and a landing party from the frigate HMS Endymion made it to the summit. Rockall was first precisely charted by Royal Navy surveyor Captain Vidal in 1831 and was first explored scientifically in 1896. But nobody thought to add Rockall to the British Empire until the 1950s. The reason why the British were suddenly interested in Rockall was because of the Cold War. Britain was about to test fire its first guided nuclear weapon, an American Corporal missile. The missile would launch from the Scottish island of South Uist out over the North Atlantic. It would pass over Rockall. The British Admiralty feared that the Soviets would set up some kind of observation or monitoring station on Rockall, which belonged to no country. The government moved quickly to forestall any such intentions. In April 1955, the Royal Navy was ordered to annex Rockall and incorporate it into the shrinking British Empire post-haste. The trouble was, Rockall is such a godforsaken place, and landing on it is so difficult, that a plan had to be hatched to deal with the logistics. HMS Vidal, a survey ship that had been coincidentally named after Captain Vidal, who in 1831 had first accurately charted the islet, was sent. As well as depth chargers, the Vidal was equipped with a Westland Dragonfly helicopter, which would prove extremely useful. The operation to annex the last piece of real estate to be added to the British Empire occurred on the 18th of September 1955, when the Dragonfly airlifted Lieutenant Commander Desmond Scott, Sergeant Brian Peel and Corporal A. Fraser, both of the latter from the Royal Marines, and civilian naturalist and former Royal Marine James Fisher, onto Hall's Ledge, which is the only flat area on the islet. A flagpole was hammered into place and the Union flag run up as the men saluted. Then a brass plaque was cemented into place announcing that Rockall is British territory and annexed in the name of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Did you receive your orders direct from the Queen, Commander Connell?
I did. I had an instruction from Her Majesty to annex the island of Rockall in her name.
The rocket test went ahead without Soviet interference, but there was still a sneaking suspicion that some foreign power might yet stake a claim on Rockall. The British military mounted a second expedition to Rockall in 1971. This time the British came in force. Operation Top Hat was mounted from the Royal Fleet auxiliary vessel RFA Engadine and was led by Captain T.R. Kirkpatrick of the Royal Engineers. With him were personnel from the Royal Navy, Royal Marines, Army and civilian geologists. Winched onto Rockall by a Wessex 5 helicopter of the Royal Marines, the party collected rock samples and used explosives to blow the top off the pinnacle in order to receive an automatic light beacon. This measure meant that Rockall was incorporated into the district of Harris in the county of Inverness in Scotland, and most importantly, secured the British government's position as owner of the seabed in the area for 12 nautical miles in all directions. British sovereignty was further cemented when former SAS soldier Tom Maclean lived on Rockall between the 26th of May and the 4th of July 1985. So why all the fuss? Well, originally the annexation of Rockall was to do with missile tests in Scotland. But since then, the issue has been mineral resources, particularly oil under the seabed and under Rockall. British occupation of the island gives us a 12-mile right in all directions.
There's a place that's called Rockall, and the groping hands of Whitehall are grabbing at its wall. Oh, rock on, Rockall, you'll never fall. For Britain's greedy hands, or you'll meet the same resistance like you did in any land. May the seagulls rise and pluck your eyes, and the water crush your shell, and the natural gas will burn your ass and blow you all to hell. This rock is part of Ireland, for it's written in folklore. When Finn McCool took a sod of grass, he threw it to the fore. Then he tossed the pebble across the sea. Wherever did it fall, for the sod became the Isle of Man. Now the pebble's called Rockall. Oh, rock on, Rockall, you'll never fall. For Britain's greedy hands, or you'll meet the same resistance like you did in many lands. May the seagulls rise and pluck your eyes, and the water crush your shell, and the natural gas will burn your ass and blow you all to hell. Oh, the seas will not be silent while Britannia grabs the waves. And remember that the Irish will no longer be our slaves. And remember that Britannia, well, she rules the waves no more. So keep your hands off Rockall, it's Irish to the core. Oh, rock on, Rockall, you'll never fall. For Britain's greedy hands, or you meet the same resistance like you did in many lands. May the seagulls rise and pluck your eyes, and the water crush your shell, and the natural gas will burn your ass and blow you all to hell. Oh, rock on, Rockall, you'll never fall. For Britain's greedy hands, or you'll meet the same resistance like you did in many lands. May the seagulls rise and pluck your eyes, and the water crush your shell, and the natural gas will burn your ass and blow you all to hell. Oh, rock on, Rockall, you'll never fall.